It's just stuff I'm selling. It's stuff I'm selling. Stuff I'm selling.
Powerful Sith you will become. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader.
What's up, Star Wars nerds, and welcome back to another episode of the channel. This is episode 29 of Brett on Fett. And you know, since the pandemic started, one of the major complaints Star Wars collectors have had is the distribution process, the lack of items in the store, on the shelves, and the amount of time it's taken for our pre-orders to come in. It's just been the way of the world with all the issues created by the COVID pandemic. You'd go to stores and all you'd see is empty pegs or maybe a bunch of Landos. But now times are starting to shift a little bit. We're starting to see a lot of positivity. We're starting to see items on the shelves, on the pegs, and we're starting to receive a bunch of our pre-orders all at the same time, seemingly. I mean, just me personally, in the past 3 weeks or so, I've received about 21 different figures in the mail, and I currently have 10 being shipped to me as I'm recording this. And like my boss likes to say, be careful what you wish for, because now that we're starting to get all this stuff in, it is hitting our wallets all at the same time if you are a pre-orderer. And so, you know, now we've got something else to complain about, and that's for Hasbro and all these retailers to possibly reconsider their pre-ordering process to provide more options of how and when we can go about paying for our orders, so that we're not getting hit all at once with these pre-orders coming in. So that being said, it is overall a good thing. It's an exciting time to get all these figures. I've shown a lot of them in my last 2 videos. I'm not going to go through another pickups video today, but I just will say it's very exciting to get these things in when you put aside the fact that it's you know, we're getting charged all this money all of a sudden. So overall, it's a good thing we're seeing. We just want to see it spaced out, and I think you will see that. This is a lot of catch-up going on, in my opinion, and so I think it will get better. But again, it would be nice for retailers to come up with a better option for us to maybe pay half now, half later, or if buyers prefer, just pay the full amount up front as you order the item. So at least it's just not all being charged at once, since we're ordering these things, you know, staggered. So just wanted to touch on that. Okay, so today we are going to do another segment of Random Figure Spotlight, but before we get to that, if you are a loose figure collector, I need your help. As you guys know, I am mostly a mint-on card collector. I did convert to a opener when it comes to blackseries figures, but when it comes to TVC, I'm still relatively new. I've only started getting some doubles for particular figures and opening them maybe in the last 3 or 4 months, and I've just got, you know, a dozen or so figures loose from the vintage collection. And one thing I've been struggling with that I didn't realize was an issue before is peg holes. There is a significant peg hole issue with these figures, in my opinion. So let's take a look so I can elaborate on what I'm talking about. Now what you're looking at here is literally all of my vintage collection figures that I have loose. And along this back section here, all the figures you see standing on figure stands are all my figures that have no issues with their peg holes. Their peg holes are a normal size that fit standard stands. And the ones laying down here in the front are all the figures I own where the peg holes are entirely too small to fit any known standard stand. Now, starting with the female figures, you could see their feet are extremely small compared to the male figures, and that's expected. And so the holes are very small. You know, here's the Ahsoka. And you could see they did the best they can. So in these cases with these female figures, it's not Hasbro's fault. There's really nothing else I could see them doing short of making the feet way too big. Now, let's take this IG-11 figure, for example. An awesome figure, one of my favorites. Now, they put the peg holes towards the edge, the end of the foot, rather than the center. So not only is it too small, but it's also too shallow. And I'll just try to show you here. Here's a standard figure stand, and it's probably a little too hard to see on camera, but the hole is entirely too small. You know, even if I could fit it in the hole, the hole is way too shallow.
That's what she said.
So, you know, it's just very frustrating. And now take care of this new deluxe Book of Boba Fett. Now, why would they put it on the front of the shoe? Why not the back, or so it's more in line with the leg? But again, you know, even though it's a male figure with bigger feet, the peg still can't fit in the hole. This is very frustrating and unacceptable in my opinion. Surely, at least with the male figures, there's something you could do. And just to show you, here's one of those standard Hasbro Star Wars figure stands. Just to show you, the peg size is the same, and it still does not fit in these peg holes on these figures. So, you know, it's frustrating, and let's take a look at even the new Super Commando. I mean, this is an excellent sculpt they're using for the Death Watch Mando and all these other Mandos like this one. And, you know, great figure, but again, the peg holes are towards the front of the foot, and they're still too small. You know, I just don't understand it. You know, you have such a great figure, and you can't make the peg holes big enough to fit a standard figure stand. So, you know, yeah, I'll just try this Star Wars one too. Yeah, see, it's no different. It's the same size peg. It doesn't fit. So I was just wondering if I could get help from you guys that are loose collectors to see what you do to help stabilize some of your figures when the peg holes are too small for these standard figure stands. Now, I know I've seen some YouTubers, like Only One Kenobi, for example. He likes to use blue tack, which is that putty stuff. Sometimes we call it sticky tack here. And, you know, he uses that to put on the backs of the foot and everything. And I'm trying to find a different solution. Yeah, I could do that, but it kind of shows. I don't know, I guess you can do it in a way where it doesn't show. But would just love to hear from you guys if you have an alternative solution, or if blue tack's the way to go, or maybe you even know of somebody that makes stands that have slightly smaller pegs for these figures. You can see I'm really struggling to get Bo-Katan to stay standing. I can get them to stand. They're just not super stable, so if there's a lot of movement in the room, someone's like my kids are running in the room and stomping on the floor and it shakes the table, they do fall over. So I would prefer to have these figures on stands if possible. So let me know what you guys do to deal with this situation. I'd really appreciate it. Alright, so if you're familiar with my channel, you know that every now and then I like to do a segment I call Random Figure Spotlight. And that's just where I take a random figure from my collection from any of the modern Hasbro Star Wars toy lines, usually 3 3/4 scale, and we go over them and talk about them. And for today's Random Figure Spotlight, I will be taking a look at the 2005 Target exclusive Revenge of the Sith Darth Vader, also known as the Lava Darth Vader. So let's take a look at this guy. And here he is, and I have to admit, this is a pretty horrible figure to show on camera in box because of the domed shaped large bubble on the original packaging, and then it's also inside a Star Wars provided clamshell, and so it's kind of a double whammy of glare everywhere. But I'll do the best I can to show you this guy, and I'll show some images of the figure itself here. But you can see it's an exclusive collector's edition, one of 50,000. I remember thinking that was so special and so awesome when I got this guy. But you can see he's red and he's buff, and it's just kind of showing, I think, the reflection of the lava from Mustafar and his anger and everything. And taking a look at the back of the figure, it's got embedded on the clamshell Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which is a nice touch. It's a really nice clamshell that it came with. And there's a write-up here that says, lured by promises of unlimited power, Anakin gives up everyone and everything he cares about and falls to the dark side of the Force. Encased in the black armor that will come to strike fear throughout the galaxy, he is no longer Anakin Skywalker, he is now Darth Vader. Now that in itself is not exactly accurate. As you saw in the clip from the beginning of the episode, he actually ceases to become Anakin and becomes Darth Vader well before he puts the suit on. But, you know, it is what it is. And just for comparison, I've brought out the newest Darth Vader. This, of course, is the Dark Times Darth Vader from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. The best Darth Vader we've ever gotten in 3 3/4. Such an amazing figure. Can't say enough about this one. And so when you look at that figure and then you compare it to this 2005 Vader sculpt, it's just night and day. This thing just looks pretty terrible in comparison. But, you know, at the time, it was exciting to get this new red glowing Vader. We hadn't seen something like that before, and I just remember being super excited to find this Target exclusive in the store back in the day. And I still find it to be a neat sort of nostalgic piece from the release of Revenge of the Sith. So that's going to do it for this episode. Let me know in the comments if you're a loose collector that deals with these peg hole issues, and if you like to use the blue tack putty stuff to keep your figure standing, or if you have an alternative method of dealing with those annoying small peg holes. Also, let me know what you think about that 2005 Target exclusive Lava Vader, and if you have him in your collection. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much to my subscribers. Please remember that you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Take care, and we'll see you next time.